Okay, so let's look a little bit practically. I'm thinking, and maybe because I know we've talked about maybe some issues already that would bring to this situation or bring churches to this situation, but many churches and leaders feel like they're already talking about pornography. Like I already bring it up in sermons. We have that arbitrary one, maybe, someone come and share a story once a year. We do a series on sex, that sort of thing. How might there be a disconnect between what they're preaching and really what the average person who's sitting in the pew is experiencing?
Often, and maybe too often in the church, what we hear is what can be contained in that 20-minute sermon or 30-minute sermon on a Sunday morning. And there's only so much you can cover. And I have found in attending many men's retreats and things of that nature that it often is typically a warning, and warnings are good. Paul warns us very clearly that uh, about when we commit sexual idolatry, we're impacting our whole selves, our spirit, our mind, body, and spirit. And he warns us this is very dangerous, right? But the warning that comes, though it's very good, isn't so effective. We often call it the purity sermon in church, and purity sermons often don't help very much because the men that are in the church already know they're supposed to be pure. The women in church already know they're supposed to be pure. The teenagers, they know that they should be. They're missing the key components to taking a journey. I was just, hold on. You
He's
said
going to
I could,
reach back and grab
That's
his
right.
book.
We told him. Yeah, that's awesome.
there's this great book called Safe by some guy.
Oh, look at that. Plug in your book, Nick.
Wow, I'm just super impressed he had it right on the shelf behind him.
What if he just was like, hey, I'm going to record with Nick. I should probably set this back here in case it comes
Where's
out.
that book? He actually went into his attic, had to dig into a box. Pretty good. No.
Oh, wow.
So, Nick, you talk about that we have these transformational words or formational words that we like to have, or process words, I should say, that we like to just have one and done. We are saved, we are sanctified, we are cleansed, it's done. We don't talk about the sanctification process enough in the church to understand that. And what does that really look like? We give some lip service to that. We talk about discipling one another, but what does that really look like? And so I love this phrase you hear, and it's been underlined for a long time. It says, "Truth be told, in our churches, we want people who are processed and mature already." The reality is that most of us, maybe all of us, are still in process and becoming mature. Grace always has a messy side because if there isn't a mess, we don't need grace. Well, when men and women, they feel that shame and condemnation from the warning in the purity sermon, but they don't know what to do. We've created a cage of our own making. We've reached through, we built it block by block and bar by bar. We reached through the door, we locked the cage and threw away the key. Nobody keeps the key. And without a safe place and a safe process to really understand why do I do what I do when I say that I don't want to do it anymore and hate myself for doing it again. And if you can't walk me through that, then I will stay inside my little cage wearing a hole in the center of the floor, getting deeper and deeper. And I needed somebody to come in, bring the key with them, unlock the door, and show me how to walk out. Because left to my own devices, I would run back into what was familiar. When my persistence, I love Jesus. It crushed me when I came back, when I came to the church that I'm at now and rededicated my life to God. There's one sticking point that I just couldn't seem to get out, and that was pornography. And I would plead and I would beg God, please take this away from me. I hate this. I hate me. right? When I began a journey with others to understand why I was doing what I was doing and how shame was helping keeping me stuck and how secrecy was helping to keep me stuck, then it empowered me to make different choices. I got to be able to sit in my emotions, and not have to self-soothe my mood or just to feel normal. There could be real life and restoration coming into that, but it came through a safe place and a safe process that led to ongoing change because it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, I just echo all that. And by the way, I think you are the first guest on our podcast to ever quote me. So, kudos to you on that. The check is in the mail. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've been doing recovery work, for about 13 years, and I have never one time, and I'm not exaggerating, I sincerely have never heard one single Christian say to me, I just didn't realize how bad it was. I didn't realize it was wrong. I didn't know I was objectifying women. I didn't know that this disrespected women or offended God's heart. Like, every single person is like, yep. And what do I do about it? Because I kept going back, and that's why I felt so horrible or shameful. Or now I have had some people that haven't sincerely tried to stop, or just haven't been motivated enough to care. But even those people would acknowledge, yeah, I knew it was bad for me. I knew it was wrong. I knew it wasn't what God wanted of my life. And yet, if that's all we hear in preaching, it's actually just doubling down on the shame people are already feeling and laying a heavy burden on them that they don't know what to do about. And I've even said in a couple of places, it's like, if that's all you're going to do, it'd be better if you didn't preach on it at all, because it's just going to increase shame unless you're going to lead people towards, here's some ideas, here's someone that can help, here's a ministry, here's a book, here's direction to actually do something. The other thing that comes to mind for me on this question is, I think when leaders do talk about pornography especially, they tend to indicate a kind of porn that is maybe still images or Playboy magazine, or even, if it's video, it's kind of normal people having sex. And yet the reality increasingly in our world is those who are stuck in addictive behavior are going to more and more extreme places. And that's what I have found in just about everybody's story, is when they feel the shame of this, it's not just because they were looking at a still image. It's because there's a piece of their story in particular that even as the pastor's preaching about it, something inside of them is saying, yeah, but if they knew the kind of stuff you looked at, if they knew the kind of things that turn you on, if they knew the kind of places you've been, because they're just talking about normal people and you don't really have, yours is. And what I find amazing about that, again, I think it's one of the traps Satan lays, because I have heard that same story from all kinds of different people,
yeah, right,
who all have a part of their story that's a little different, a little unique, a little outside the norm. And because of that, whatever a pastor is saying, they're like, well, yeah, but you don't know the truth of my story. And so I think we've just got to be really aware when we do talk about pornography, we not assume that everyone's just kind of got this normal, lustful, desire for attractive women, and it's all the same, because it's such a spectrum. And I think we've got to try to communicate in a way that we're aware you may have someone there that is just struggling on one end of the spectrum with just a little bit of fantasy and lust, and then the other end of the spectrum of some of the most off the charts, fetish type, bizarre things that we haven't even thought of, but it's out there and they got hooked into it, and everything in between. And just making sure we're very clear in a way of saying God's grace and our offer for help applies to you no matter where you are on this huge, vast spectrum of brokenness.
Yeah. I think two other things that I think are really important in this is that oftentimes it's male-oriented language, and we miss the females who are struggling with that. That's a huge thing. You're immediately doubling down on the shame if you're not using both genders. And then another thing too, I think that in my experience, the most effective preachers and teachers of God's word are also the most aware of what's going on in culture. They're aware of the world that people are living in, and they are able to give that cultural commentary. Two guys come to mind, John Mark Comer, who's a local guy who I think is excellent, but even Timothy Keller over in New York, I feel like he was always aware of what was going on. And I was thinking about this earlier. that Ephesians 4, if the whole point of church ministry is to equip the saints for the work of ministry, and you know that pornography is it's one of the most predominant things that's keeping people from using their gifts and doing ministry, then you're not doing this shots fired, here it comes. You're not doing your job well unless you're helping people get rid of those blockages that are in the way of them doing ministry. I'm just going to shrink back in my chair a little bit because I don't know if I'm going to offend anybody, but I feel strongly about that.
The email is trevorw@puredesign.
Actually, that's wrong. So go ahead and give him that.
I was
one.
helping you out.
Yeah, no, but I really do.
Message undeliverable.
I feel like that is just something that we need to emphasize in the church, that we need to understand that our job is to help people in their sanctification so that they can do the work of ministry. They can follow the Lord and use their gifts to help other people come to know him and grow in their sanctification. And if pornography is the thing that's in the way, why wouldn't we want to help our people get that out of the way, restore their marriages and their families, and really allow them for maybe the first time in their life to walk in who God has created them to be and to use their gifts? All right, let's pray because the sermon's over.